Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you own a local service business, you are definitely all too familiar with the constant, super stressful battle of trying to get back to leads before they just move on to a competitor. You're busy actually running your business, right? But simply ignoring the phone isn't an option. So today, we're walking through the ultimate playbook for solving this massive problem of slow response times. We're going to look at exactly how deploying an all-in-one AI platform acts like a 24/7 employee, effortlessly capturing those lost leads and completely transforming your bottom line. Let's get right into it.
I want to hook you immediately with this staggering statistic. According to a lead response study by the Harvard Business Review, 50% of customers buy from whoever responds first. Basically, half of your potential market isn't looking for the absolute best or even the absolute cheapest option. They are literally just looking for the fastest. This establishes the sheer urgency of the response time crisis. If you're slow, you are actively handing your competitors revenue.
So, the crucial point is 47 hours. That is the average response time to a web lead when a local business doesn't have any automation set up. I mean, just think about that gap for a second. You have a customer who wants to buy right now, today, and they're waiting nearly 2 full days to hear back. This is the baseline problem we are dealing with across the entire local services sector.
To fix this, here's our roadmap. First, we'll cover the response time crisis. Second, software costs, stack versus platform. Third, real revenue math and ROI. And finally, a setup and compliance checklist.
Starting with Section 1, the response time crisis, and how to stop losing leads to slow replies. The reality is, most local businesses think they have a marketing problem. They think they need more ads or better SEO, but really, they have a speed problem. You're probably generating enough interest, you just aren't capturing it fast enough. Just take a look at this breakdown. 78% of inbound calls that happen outside of business hours go straight to voicemail. And the worst part, most of them are never returned. Let that sink in. When your phone rings during dinner or on a Sunday afternoon and it goes to voicemail, in 78% of cases, that equals a lost customer. People just don't leave voicemails anymore. They hang up and call the next listing on Google.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that we can put a very specific dollar amount on that exact pain point. Notice the conversion drop-off here. If a typical business gets, say, 60 inbound leads a month, answering within 5 minutes yields a solid 30% conversion rate. But wait 24 hours and that plummets to 10%. If your revenue per closed customer is $400, that delay is literally costing you $4,800 every single month. That is the exact gap an AI employee closes.
Moving to Section 2, software costs, and consolidating your software overhead.
A lot of business owners definitely recognize the speed problem, and they try to fix it by stitching together separate tools. A chatbot here, a CRM there, maybe a scheduling app. But the cost and, quite frankly, the headache of doing that is absurd. A traditional stack like that typically runs anywhere from $631 to over $2,500 a month. Conversely, the GoHighLevel setup with an unlimited AI employee add-on comes to just $194 total. You're looking at a massive 70 to 90% reduction in fixed tool overhead.
And honestly, beyond just the money, it's about operational drag. Managing 7 different SaaS tools means 7 logins, 7 bills, and trying to somehow get 7 systems to talk to each other without breaking. Contrast that with one consolidated AI platform where your voice agent, your chat agent, and your CRM are all sharing a single workflow engine. It completely removes the friction that normally kills automation projects in small businesses.
Now for Section 3, real revenue math and ROI. Let's look at some industry-specific financial gains.
Okay, let's dive into this. The truth is, this platform doesn't just save you money on software. It actively makes you money by plugging the holes in your sales bucket. First up, dental practices. By implementing this system, dental offices are seeing a staggering return on investment of roughly 94 times their monthly spend. How is that even possible?
Well, here's exactly how the math works out. In the dental industry, 30% of inbound calls happen outside normal hours. By having voice and conversation AI handle those after-hours calls and easily answer insurance questions on the website, they capture an average of 8 extra new patients a month. At a $1,500 patient lifetime value, that is $12,000 in added pipeline. All for a system that costs about $127 a month, and yeah, that includes telecom fees. Recovering just those few lost calls pays for the system nearly 100 times over.
Now let's move over to med spas. They're clocking an impressive 37x ROI. This industry has a slightly different problem, but the exact same brilliant solution.
So, med spas struggle with a massive 40 to 60% drop-off rate between an initial inquiry and an actual consultation. People DM on Instagram, ask about Botox, and then just go completely cold. But by simply having an AI instantly reply to those Instagram DMs and SMS messages with a booking link, they recover about 6 lost consultations a month. At a $600 average ticket, that's $3,600 in added pipeline for a $97 a month add-on. They effortlessly capture high-margin services that would normally slip away.
But if you want to see absolute peak season dominance, look at roofing and home services. They're showing a massive 200x ROI during their busy seasons. And this brilliantly illustrates the power of scale. In home services, a storm rolls in and calls spike 5 to 10 times normal volume. Human receptionists simply cannot keep up, and calls drop to voicemail. An AI voice agent easily handles that overflow, capturing the damage type and the zip code. If it captures 30 storm leads a month, and you close 25% of those $5,000 jobs, you just added $37,500 to your pipeline. The AI agent stops $5,000 jobs from hanging up on a busy signal for just about $180 a month in software and call minutes.
Finally, Section 4, Setup and Compliance Checklist. This is your action plan to launch.
Look, it's one thing to see the math, it's another to actually deploy it. We want you to feel totally empowered here, not overwhelmed. So here is your logical setup sequence for voice and conversation AI. You start your trial, create an account, enable the AI, and then simply train it on basic scripts, like how to greet, qualify, and book. You just upload your standard FAQ sheet and your booking link. Everything works right through a highly intuitive visual interface. You're using plain English prompts here, no coding, and absolutely no complex technical skills required.
However, there is one technical piece you absolutely must take seriously, and that's A2P 10DLC. If you're operating in the US, this is a mandatory registration system for business SMS. Do not skip this. It prevents mobile carriers from blocking or filtering your automated texts as spam. It costs between $4 and $19 as a one-time fee, and it is entirely critical to complete this registration right inside the platform before you send a single automated text to a US number.
Similarly, for your emails, you need to understand DMARC. This is an email authentication protocol. In short, it just proves to email providers that you are who you say you are. Taking 10 minutes to set this up on your sending domain is strictly required for email deliverability today. If you want the AI's follow-up sequences to actually reach your customer's inbox and not bounce into the junk folder, set up your DMARC.
To wrap up the checklist, always make sure you're collecting proper consent on your forms to comply with anti-spam laws, like TCPA in the US or CASL in Canada. If you deal with EU prospects, update your GDPR privacy policy to disclose AI data handling. And here is the golden rule of launch. Always run live test calls with yourself and your team before you flip the switch for real customers. Make sure the AI sounds and responds exactly how you want your brand represented.
Which leaves us with this final, critical thought. Think about the calls that came in after hours last week, or the web inquiries that took your team a day and a half to finally reply to. How much revenue is sitting in your voicemail right now? With the tools available today, you just don't have to accept that loss anymore. Reclaim your leads, explore these consolidated platforms, and stop letting slow responses dictate your bottom line. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you on the next one.